Now to permit the safe flow of pedestrian traffic. If you do so voluntarily, no charges will be placed against you. If you refuse to disperse, you will be placed under arrest and charged with disorderly conduct.
We need clean air, not another billionaire. We need clean air, not another billionaire.
Officer to the President Transport Vehicle, or if you resist arrest, you may be charged. Guys, you gotta go to the side. Or if you resist arrest.
Power of the people! Yeah! And we've got more!
Stop funding fossil fuels in Texas and Louisiana! These banks are killing us! These Yankee banks are killing us!
Step back, please. Step back, please.
From Zuccotti Park to the global headquarters of Citibank. Since the Paris Agreement was signed in 2015, Citibank has been the world's largest funder of fossil fuel expansion. Driving not only the climate crisis, but environmental racism in communities across the country and the world. And so we are not going to only engage in a march today, many of us will be engaging in non-violent civil disobedience once we get to Citibank's headquarters.
We are gathered here today in Zuccotti Park, which of course, as you all know, was where Occupy Wall Street started. We're gathering here today for a mass civil disobedience to end fossil fuels. We're going to march from here to the headquarters of Citigroup. Citigroup is the world's largest funder of new coal, oil, and gas since the Paris Agreements were signed in 2015. So they are responsible for the floods, the famines, the fires, the mass forced migration that the climate crisis is bringing us. And when we get there, we are going to shut down the entrance of the global headquarters, and there is going to be 100 people that are going to get arrested. And people are doing this because we've tried other methods. We've signed petitions. We've had pleading meetings where we get community leaders who are saying, your projects are literally poisoning my kids, giving them cancer, and none of that has moved them. So we know we have to force the issue now and actually get them to pay attention through a sustained campaign of nonviolent civil disobedience.
And also, what are your thoughts on tactics of more boycotting, rent strikes, more economic strikes? And because it seems like the protests, the politicians don't listen, the corporations aren't listening. So what are your thoughts on more economic boycotts?
I think that's a great question. With a company like Citigroup, in the past we've actually run campaigns where we get customers to say, I'm going to cut out my credit card, I'm going to move my money away. Unfortunately, the strategic reality with a company like Citigroup is that they are not so responsive to that, just because the total amount of money that constitutes, even if you get tens of thousands of customers to do that, unfortunately is not necessarily landing so heavy on the sort of executive decision-making sort of processes and sort of what they're thinking through. And I do think that all tactics are important. People should be doing that as well. We have some amazing partners, for example, Empower Change, that are getting people to cut out their credit cards, because Citigroup is actually also the biggest foreign bank in Israel, and they're actually getting them to sort of move away from, of course, funding the Israeli military, and the Israeli war machine. So I think that is an important tactic, but what we're trying to focus on is creating a direct disruption to the company's operations and to the sort of key decision makers at the company because we think that is going to be able to move more change more quickly. We want to do a sustained campaign. Every single week there's going to be 3 to 5 disruptive protests. And we think we were in fact already seeing the effects. Bloomberg the other day released an article saying, I mean, this is Bloomberg, right? Not like some lefty rag. This is Bloomberg. Bloomberg said that employees are being told very strictly by executives, by leaders, that they should not be engaging with us. Bloomberg says that that's a sign that this is racking, both employees and their sort of leaders, and this is a sign that this is working. So we're only week 2 in this campaign. We're almost done with week 3, so we're really excited about the next steps here.
Great. And I know this is in solidarity with the Gulf Coast movement, right?
Yeah.
Can you kind of just explain what's happening there?
Yeah, of course. So in the Gulf South of this country, so in states like Texas and Louisiana, they are facing one of the world's most aggressive build-outs of fossil fuels, which means that, not only is that contributing to all of our demise insofar as the climate crisis is worsening, it also means that it's our comrades is, water that's being poisoned, air that's being poisoned, land that's being poisoned, in so-called Cancer Alley in Louisiana, you have an extraordinarily sort of abnormally high rate of rare cancers. We have comrades here whose stories are so heartbreaking. Every kid has asthma. Every kid gets, has some kind of health problem that you normally wouldn't be seeing, or is statistically sort of like improbable to see. And so that's what we're here today, is to really stand in solidarity with them. There's about 130 community leaders here today in New York doing this protest with us, and we really want to be in solidarity with them because at the end of the day, what's happening there is unconscionable, and it's also racism, right? Like, Citigroup is not funding projects in the Upper West Side. They're not funding projects in the Upper East Side or Beverly Hills. They're funding projects in working class, Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities. So.
LNG has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. LNG has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. LNG has got to go. Hey. Shut it down. Shut it down.
He would give them whatever they want. That means they're gonna cut the permits that we fighting so hard to keep our climate at least to the point that we can live. But he told all the rich folks, if you give me $1 billion and re-elect me, I will move all obstructions out your way. So is America for sale? No! Are we for sale? No! So I'm here to tell Citigroup, because at the end of the day, every last one of us come from somewhere. Every last one of us had an ancestors that fought for us to get to the point we at today.
My name is Manny Reyes. I'm from the city of Freeport, Texas. I'm one of the communities along the Gulf Coast that's heavily impacted with industrial build-outs. I am here today to tell the financiers to stop financing these petrochemical plants and these LNGs because it's dangerous and toxic for our communities. We're fighting to save the lives of our children and grandchildren. The future belongs to them.
Now, kind of just explain what's happening. You said from Texas?
Yes.
What's happening down there in the Gulf, and what kind of projects are they doing?
Well, Texas have projects going. It's a build out. Texas is a heavy oil refinery state, and what they're doing is they're actually building out along the Gulf Coast, and they're not understanding that all these build outs is causing a change in our weather patterns. It's causing the poverty within our community. And what I don't understand is if we don't do something about the climate today, we're going to continuously raise the national debt. That is going to go on our children no matter what, and their children, until we do something about fixing the climate. So I'm standing in solidarity with all the groups along the Gulf Coast to speak out for our communities. We spend a lot of money supporting these industries in our communities, but we're not seeing a return. I'm tired of watching the babies get sick and die in my communities. I'm tired of burying my families from cancer, diabetes, amputations. A lot of that is in Texas. And what we get out of it? Crooked politicians that'll take the rights of people, complain about the border and everything else, but what about the communities that's impacted by their policies?
Do you think they would ever do this to like wealthier neighborhoods and
No.
white communities?
They will never do this, say like in Deer Park or something like that in Houston. They'll never put that in a predominantly rich white community. They always put them in communities of color and communities that's basically poverty. And when it comes down to it, why not put it in the backyard of Donald Trump? Why not put it in the backyard of Bill Gates? If we're gonna be equal about it, put it in everybody's backyard. But why you pick the most vulnerable people that policies is designed against them, but you want to put these industries in their backyard and they lose hope for the future and the children, what future that they can look forward to because they sick.
Yep. You know, I just got back from Flint, Michigan a couple months ago. It's been 10 years since they've been poisoned. Their water was poisoned. They still don't have clean water, and their cancer rates are up 500%. Kids are committing suicide. It's really heartbreaking what the community is going through. But they have all this money for war and for bombs and these new projects, but they can't fix American cities, the water, the land, the air.
Well, I see the problem with our federal government. Our federal government think about the global economy, and they say that they care about the citizens. But how can you care about the citizens when you know these issues are like that? When you're making policies that affect them. And for the people of Flint, they're not the only ones, because you got to look at the people in New York and Manhattan. You got to look at the people where I live at in Freeport, where the water is dangerous, that's causing cancer. And we have children that die from it, you know? So our government worried about the global economy and everybody else, and what are you doing at home? My Bible tells me charity begins at home, then it spreads abroad. So how can you say that you're helping somebody else when you ain't helping them at the house? And I'm against wars, and I'm a veteran. I serve my country. I'm against war. War only does bring money. That's all it does. And it leaves tragedy everywhere. In my opinion, we need to stop the war in Gaza and in Israel. There's a better way to do this instead of sacrificing people, innocent people's lives because of somebody else's ignorance. Because we do it all the time. We go fight, kill people, getting everybody else's business, bomb countries, and at the end of the day, we coming back like we've done something. All we showed is we was the biggest bully on the block, and we could do whatever we want to do. And at the end of the day, that's not America. That's not what I swore an oath to. That's not none of us that put our hands on our chest and say that pledge. That one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Where's the justice for the Gulf Coast? Where's the justice for the people of Gaza? Where's the justice? Because everybody talking about Israel, okay, what happened with Israel, but look at 40-something years of torture by Israel to the people of Gaza. What did they have to look forward to? The same old authoritarian rulership out of Israel against the Gazan people. And we America, we're supposed to stand by Israel. But if Israel wrong, why would we stand behind them? But you got to look at it. America doing the same thing that Israel did to the Gazan people, to all the minority people in this country, especially the people on the Gulf Coast. They are no different.
Absolutely. Yeah, you know, this country champions itself as the leader of democracy and free world and champion of human rights. But look what we're doing in so many other countries, and look what this government is doing to its own people. How is this democracy?
There's no democracy in America. We don't have a democracy. We have rulers. Those rulers is the politicians that we elect. And then they make ways that they can't get out of office. You can vote them and vote them and vote them, and then the people got to the point they don't even want to vote. Last night I watched that debate, and the only thing I can say as a veteran, I'm voting for democracy. Because when somebody tells you that they're going to be a dictator, you take them at their word. And the American people sit back here like this is something cool. They haven't been in that position. They don't know what people go through in Russia. They don't know what people go through in Gaza. They ain't never experienced that. But if they keep pushing that way and they elect the wrong president, they will see what authoritarian is. They will feel what authoritarian is. Now, when they talk about their freedom of speech, that's out the window. The whole Constitution is out the window. So at the end of the day, I'm only voting for democracy because I expect my children to have the same freedoms and same rights that I have at 62.
So the Gulf Coast is under attack right now.
Yes.
We're being constantly battered with these LNGs and these rich man welfare subsidies, whatever you want to call them. But it's rich man welfare. They're giving them tax abatement. They're giving them breaks so they can start coming out there. Now you have a criminal that is running for office. Right. So who's the criminal here? It's those fossil fuel industries who don't have a policy, and the bureaucrats who only listen to the policies that they do, the investigations that the fossil fuel industry provides for them. So we want due diligence from our bureaucrats. We want due diligence from our elected officials. We want them to know the history of what's been happening here. There's been 500 years of genocide toward Native people. And tribal erasure is still occurring in Texas. They don't want to give anybody the right to be able to say, this government doesn't exist, only in the minds of criminals. Because that's what they were. They were rapists, they were pedophiles, and they came in and stole our lands. And they still do that, and then they made us look bad. Like we were the bad people. We were on our lands. And our lands are important to us. And we have to go back and start buying each land inch by inch by inch. We're going to get our lands back one way or the other.